Welcome to a reading of in-game lore from Control. This video contains all the collectible documents found under the Correspondence official heading in the base game. Agent Death Notification. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Potts, I regret to inform you that your son Graham Potts was killed in active duty this past week. While the details surrounding his death are classified, I'm honored to tell you that he died in the service of his country. You can be proud of his courage in the face of danger and his commitment to protecting our nation against our enemies. He'll be remembered by his comrades and colleagues. I sincerely regret the pain this message will bring you. Take some solace in knowing that his sacrifice helped protect the country he loves so much. His effects will be returned to you with all speed. Sincerely yours, Howard J. Murray, Deputy Chief of Communications, Federal Bureau of Control. Approved terminology reminder. Reminder regarding drafting any public-facing material. When pinning any notifications of death related to the Willow AWE, please adhere to the following guidelines. Words or phrases to use. In the service of his or her country, regret, proud or pride, will be remembered. Words or phrases to avoid. Alaska, scissors, blood or bleed, loss, apologies or sorry. Arish escaped OOP. Attention maintenance staff. An object of power escaped the Panopticon a couple weeks ago and they want everyone to keep an eye out for it. So if anyone sees a merry-go-round horse zipping around the sector, alert me immediately. Do not try to contain it on your own and definitely don't bind it to yourself. Your security chief, Simon Arish. Arish, security matters. Hey Simon, I got your message. Yeah, if someone in the sector is asking about Ahi, just tell them you'll handle it and leave it at that. Under no circumstances should you personally intervene with his day-to-day routine. I told you everything I know about him so you could better deal with his odd habits, but yes, it's still very much a classified matter. Also, I saw your report about the quarry worker who wandered into the Foundation. Detaining him was the right move. We'll figure out what he saw before we decide on next steps. Cheers, Lynn. P.S. In case you hadn't heard, something's up between Trench and Darling. I know it isn't your strong suit, but try your best to stay out of it. Cafeteria Concerns. Director Trench. As head chef, I need to express my concern about rumors I've been hearing regarding mold appearing near some of my kitchens. I'm alerting you that any food handled, prepared, or consumed in the vicinity of mold can be contaminated and unsafe for ingestion. If I can verify these reports, then I'll need to close multiple cafeterias. I realize this would be an inconvenience to many, but as a caterer, I pride myself in keeping a pristine environment for food preparation and service. Sincerely, Jay Pullman, head chef of the Golden Chow Catering Company. Carla, file received. Thank you for the file, it was very helpful. I've re-archived it with the Black Rock research in case you need to refer to them again. Yes, the video shoots are always interesting. I expect my availability for these to decrease in the future, however, as my analysis of this newly discovered Black Rock variant is reaching a critical point. I hope you'll be able to attend them still. Darling seems to be under a lot of pressure lately, and I'm sure you would appreciate any support you can provide. Regarding the analysis you provided, I do not have any questions. Thank you for the expeditious delivery. Regards, Research Specialist Dr. Carla Vaughn, Federal Bureau of Control. Darling, budget request. Dear Dr. Darling, I suspect my colleague Dr. Harrington has already contacted you asking for an increase in her department's budget. I'm not surprised. Parapsychology has always been a squeaky wheel, all fuss but no results. Parakinesiology has always been the stronger department. More breakthroughs, more tangible data, more usable research. I'm sure a man of your esteem can plainly see which department is more deserving of the budget increase. Just think what those additional resources could do for an already formidable research team. Anyway, I know you're a fan of single malt, so I left a bottle of well-aged brown on your desk. Yours in admiration, Dr. Abraham Lewis. Darling, Underhill Disagreement. Dear Dr. Darling, I feel I must inform you of the very questionable documentation I'm seeing from Underhill's desk. She clearly has no concept of what the mold is. She claims there are microorganisms responsible for constructing the mold. Ridiculous. It's rapidly growing fungus, not dissimilar to kudzu. She's fabricating completely to justify her absurd budget demands. Speaking of which, I find it interesting that an old friend of yours gets her budget approved with no questions asked. I wonder if the Operations Oversight Committee would be interested to learn of that. Yours in estimation, Dr. Abraham Lewis. Dump cessation of work order. Notice: by order of Dr. Darling, all work in the ordinary dump is to stop effective immediately. Resources will be allocated to the department. Details will be forthcoming. This area will be sealed at the end of the month. Please remove all personal effects before that time. Any photographic slides, the type used in slide projectors, found in the area should be delivered to Dr. Darling immediately. Executive meeting minutes. Agenda items for next executive meeting. Rising costs of AWE response. Update on mold extraction efforts. Upcoming annual salary review. New supplier of coffee filters to be found and vetted. Please come prepared. Thank you for your time. Field training actor complaint. I'd like to file a formal complaint regarding the unauthorized use of my voice in a state of quality that I did not agree on. The fact that they were planning to use material from what I thought was a rehearsal was not communicated to me at all. Had it been, I would have disallowed the use of those recordings. I want use of the Ranger Field Training Course recorded messages to halt immediately. I will not stand for this humiliation among my peers. I will go to HR with this if necessary. Signed, Randall Pulaski. Hubert, Black Rock Analysis. Hi Carla, does it strike you as odd that Darling insists on having us appear in those bizarre videos of his? I mean, we just stand there. He doesn't even let us have lines or anything. Don't get me wrong, beats a day in the lab. Plus, it's always great to work with you. Oh yeah, I finished the comparative analysis of the 2 Black Rock samples you sent. The prism or whatever you called it. I filed them in the usual place under C for Carla, a handy mnemonic device, right? Anyway, let me know if there's anything you want to discuss about the data. I'll gladly explain. Maybe we could chat about it over some drinks or dinner even. I can't remember the last time I had a good steak. Maybe we can go together after work sometime. I'm free tomorrow. All the best, Hubert. Marshall, AWE Investigations. For Marshall's eyes only. Marshall, we checked out the suspected AWE in Duluth. Wasn't anything, just like the house before this, and the malfunctioning clothes dryer before that. My team's getting pretty sick of duds. We need to find a better way to sort the fake AWEs from the real things. Or you need to rotate these field agents off for a bit. Anyway, we're en route to Sherman Ranch. Next one on the list. Let's hope it's a little livelier there. Sincerely, Special Agent Keenum. Marshall, Lockdown Distinctions. Pay attention, Alberto. This is the last time I'm explaining this. Internal lockdowns are manually triggered events that lock one or all of the sectors by restricting use of the sector elevator, effectively locking staff in their sector until the emergency is handled. They can only be lifted via the directional override and maintenance once the director is satisfied that the situation is under control. External lockdowns are a bigger deal. Nothing in or out of the whole building. It's only triggered by a code red containment breach based on some complicated system that security and research slap together. It can only be lifted once A, the threat has been neutralized, and B, a high clearance individual gives the system the all clear. This process is not the same as the directorial override, so stop saying so in documents. I know it's confusing as hell. I've told Darling 100 times to change it, but they're adamant it stays the way it is. Honestly, I don't think they even know how to change it at this point. Let's just make sure our staff understands how this mess all works, okay? Marshall. Marshall, Trench's behavior. Have you noticed the recent tension between Trench and Darling? They've both been acting odd lately. Trench concerns me the most. His sudden hostility towards Darling's project is very unlike him. He was the only one to approve of this Hedron research in the first place, but after Darling unveiled those HRAs, he was livid. I personally don't see any reason to not equip Bureau staff with an additional protective device, especially not if it's as strong as Darling says. What do you make of this? Have you seen anything from either of them that strikes you as odd? Let's talk in person soon, before the next Bureau heads meeting. M. No smoking reminder. All Bureau personnel are reminded kindly not to smoke in the quarry. Even though the quarry area is technically an outdoor space, it's still a part of the Bureau, and therefore the no smoking rule does apply. Not only is it considerate towards your fellow employees to refrain from inflicting the harm of secondhand smoke, It's also prudent to avoid any risk of gas fires, unforeseen threshold reactions, and possible creation of altered receptacles. Under no circumstances should cigarette butts be left in the quarry. Thank you for your understanding. Precognitive powers. Nadine sent this research to analysis regarding my precognitive powers. Urgent, Dr. Darling. Last night I had a dream. In the dream I was given the solution to a staffing problem I've been presented with just yesterday. The problem is of a confidential nature and must therefore remain unclarified here, but I can assure you that the method through which I received this helpful information was undeniably paranatural. I can only draw the conclusion that I possess exceptional precognitive abilities and as such offer my service to the Bureau's research teams. We must utilize my powers for the greater good. Signed, Mr. Francis Bertram. Prohibited items reminder. Reminder, certain objects are not allowed inside the Bureau. Recent incidents have necessitated an issued reminder on prohibited materials. Unauthorized weapons, pagers, laptops, smart watches, smartphones, smart gaming devices, anything smart. Number 2 pencils, any object considered iconic representations of an archetypal concept, for example, rubber ducks, ketchup bottles. All material under Bureau investigation is to be brought in through the private entrances. If you see any lobby personnel in breach of these policies, please notify your supervisor immediately. R4 reports reminder. Hello, as y'all should know by now, the R4 reports are due by the end of the week. We're still waiting on them from a number of people. If you need an extension, please request the R4E from your supervisor. If you think you're exempt from filing an R4, then you'll need to get written permission from your department chief saying so. Remember, R4s are mandatory under Section 75.2 of the Employee Manual. If your R4 requires interdepartmental claims, then please contact the appropriate department head. Dr. Darling, Miss Marshall, Mr. Salvador, Mr. Kirkland, as needed. They'll be busy on Thursday in their usual policy review, so please schedule accordingly. Best, your admin team. Security order. Attention all a shark in his although secure permission to following basic protocol shoot to kill. Good luck. Sensory tank purpose. Darling here. Some of you were curious why I had these sensory deprivation tanks installed. I thought I'd shed some light on the subject. Maybe some of you have heard of a Dr. Yoshimi Takui, the man behind the hugely popular guided imagery experience tapes. Apparently his tapes go beyond the normal meditative qualities of such things, but create genuine hallucinatory visions in some listeners, or so the reports say. We brought these tanks in to test Dr. Takui's tapes for ourselves. Plus, there may be some stress-relieving uses for the staff down the road. I think we could all benefit from some time in a dark, enclosed space, don't you? If you have any questions, feel free to stop by my office. You know where it is. Tomassi, Willow AWE outcome. Reinformation campaign summary of Willow AWE. National news sites have begun publishing the story of the polar bear attack on the Alaskan town. You all know I don't like to boast, but claiming that the family was killed by migrating polar bears desperate for food because their ecosystem is being ruined by global warming was a stroke of genius. Using current ecological concerns makes the public much less likely to so another AWE behind us and the public is none the wiser. Well done, everyone. It was a strong campaign and perfectly executed. This doesn't mean we can stop monitoring and for any off-message opinions, but it's looking like we're in the clear. Tomassi out. Travel costs. Week 83 report. Summary. Visited the following Nevada accommodations: Desert Sun Inn, Big Sky Motel, Starlight Motel, In-N-Out, Aztec Court, Sleepy Bear Motel, Silver Spurs Ranch, El Gato Blanco Inn, A+ Lounge. Expenditures. Accommodation, $831.29. Meals, $714.84. Gasoline, $295.12. Minibar, *, $313.61. I do wonder if a motel called the Ocean View is going to be found in a landlocked state, but hey, I guess I'm not paid to think, right? And for the record, I again request that you give us the budget to get 2 rooms each night. Agent Rowley and myself are very tired of sleeping in the same room. See you on the road. Agent L. Hines. Asterisk. The boys in research said performing rituals may help identify any places of power. Drinking those little whiskeys is my ritual. Trench Bureau Funding. To all executive staff, I know there's some concern regarding our operations exceeding the annual budget. So long as we operate within the oldest house, we're obscured from scrutiny in many respects. If our budget demands are not exorbitant to the point of drawing attention, then they will be granted by the U.S. Treasury without question. The FBC is just another line in another spreadsheet that some lowly accountant won't even notice. Their eyes will skip over us as if we weren't even there. The nature of the oldest house allows us certain freedoms in how we operate. Our being here is no accident. Regards. Zachariah Trench, Director of the Federal Bureau of Control. Trench, Dead Letter Approval. Greetings, Director Trench. I'd like to thank you for approving my request for the Dead Letters Archive. Cataloging the Bureau's collection of delinquent mail will provide an extremely handy database that research teams can use to search for any connections or related topics found among the letters. Aside from the more functional purposes, the archive will allow us to preserve these windows into authentic human encounters with the paranatural world. The letters came to us from various places and times, gathered by the Postal Service as undeliverable. The Bureau is the perfect home for them. I realize not all letters contain accounts of genuine paranormal events, but even the erroneous ones allow us insight into how the unknown is perceived by real people. Of course, I will first compile a system to allow us to analyze the letters for any information or suspected connection to AWEs and other altered materials. So thank you again. Can't wait to delve into my dead letters. P. Bartwell. Unstable Area Notice. Please be aware, due to recent fluctuations in the nearest control point, this area's stability has been downgraded to yellow. Reference chart. Green, stable. Yellow, low possibility of unanticipated building shifts. Orange, high likelihood of unanticipated building shifts. Red, frequent unanticipated building shifts. Visitor evaluations. How to handle unscheduled visitors entering the lobby. Start with the following. Welcome to the Federal Bureau of Control, established in 1964 as part of an effort to strengthen government relations. We're proud to serve the United States and our people as we strive for transparency and excellence in all aspects of our esteemed nation's infrastructure. If they do not leave, then ask them these questions. 1. Are you here to see someone? 2. Are you from New York City or just visiting? 3. How'd you find this place? If their answers are sufficiently harmless, explain that this is a secure federal office and that they'll need to leave. If their answers seem escort them to a private room. There, perform the gunner's psychological assessment. If their responses are within the acceptable range of deviance, see the provided scoring sheet, then immediately. Remember, there's no such thing as too suspicious.